Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Fox. You're on the show this evening is Southside. Evening, Southside.
Evening, Oxdear, how are you?
I'm good, mate. You seem to be, there's punch with Judy.
I am.
Costello.
I'm missing my big China tonight, mate. Just, can he be here?
These things happen, mate. Do you think I should let the people know?
I suppose you're going to have to, but I'm not happy about it, if I'm honest.
All his trips to HR, and he's obviously up for suspension. One thing, he passed the drugs test, and he literally got caught in his hands with his cookie jar, and Bridge wasn't happy because of his custard creams.
I know. I'm surprised Bridge has kicked up a wee bit of a stink, but I thought it was
his custard creams, mate.
I know, and he was sitting in his chair and all, I know, but I thought it was
that was the main thing, mate, sitting in Bridge's chair. Oh.
I know, but I'm disappointed it's led to this, to be honest, because I'm missing him. It's no fair.
Well, justice has been served, mate. Justice has been served.
Sounds like it.
Apart from that, how are you?
I've had better days, mate, if I'm honest.
We'll only go into that. That's a whole different show on its own, mate.
I certainly had better days, but aye. Business was done at the weekend, eh?
Aye, you've not been on. Just a quick couple of minutes, your summary, mate.
Aye, well, started all right. Got the goal, and I thought it was some good displays by certain players. Looked more up for it and on it. Left a few spaces, lost a wee bit of control of the game at certain points, but thought overall we deserved to win. Thought Butland was rarely troubled. The only two that I thought he done, and I seen later with the boy was offside in the first half when he made the save with his feet, and also the save late on in the second half. Probably the boy in that position should probably had a better shot into the corner and maybe scored, but it was a good save for Jack Butland at the height he had it. And I thought we'd done enough in the game to win it, mate. I thought we deserved to go through.
Aye, I thought that. When the game was finished and looked back, we actually won quite comfortably. You're nervous when you're only one up in case there's an error. And we had a few moments, Big John Suit in particular, had a 15 minutes that hopefully he doesn't have for the rest of the season. But we won reasonably well. Were we brilliant? No. Were we passable? Aye. Semi-final, as you know, Biggie, all but getting through it.
Aye, it's it. Nobody remembers who you usually put out in the semi-final when you go to the final. And obviously when you get there, you're looking to win it. But a bit more urgency, a bit more desire, when I look at it, in certain players to put on a decent performance. Some of them worked hard, other than others, but I thought collectively the job got done, and like I say, we're in the final and it's something to park until we get there.
Listen, football's a big part of your life, and particularly the Rangers. Would that be fair? You're a Rangers fan first and foremost, 100%. But you look at other football. Would that be fair?
Mm-hmm. Aye.
You're not great at picking winners, but that's a whole different debate. Unless it's Argentinian.
I was going to say something else there, but I'll better. Aye, Argentinian sounds good. Aye. That Brazilian.
I know you were going to mention the Brazilian, but we'll leave that one later. Right, so, but VAR's come in, and there's two sides of VAR, isn't there? There's the VAR for when you're at the game, yeah? And there's a VAR when you're watching the game in the telly. And the punters in the stadium, which you are watching your team, you're clueless to what's happening, eh?
Aye, 100%. Certain times, like we've seen, it was the one that was just, there was one just no long ago at Ibrox, when the VAR came in. Even at the end of, even in the season when the boy pulled one of the players back in the box, I didn't even see that in real time. Ox, no that happening, and you just see that VAR comes up, but you've not got a clue about what it's for, to be honest, unless you've actually seen something happen.
Do you follow American football at all?
I've watched a bit. Yeah, I used to follow it quite a bit in the past. No so much recently.
See when they throw in the marker and then they announce. The referee announces what's happening. Do you think that would be the way to go to be VAR? He announces what's happening, potential penalty appeal for foul in number 6 in the box. Would you think that would be the way to go? Then the people in the stadium would know what VAR's looking at.
Well, I think it's a good idea. It's explained then by the time you're only making a ref up to explain it. Well, maybe not even him. The fourth official could do it. He could probably do it to the stadium, because if they're not going to show you a replay of the incident, then you don't know if you've not actually seen it. It's not clear and obvious. Then you haven't got a clue, to be honest. I mean, even at Tynecastle, the time we had the VAR decisions all the time, if you remember, I think it was a midweek game. You were like, here we go again, what's that for now? And it was taking ages for the decisions as well, but nothing's explained. You don't see a replay on the screen in the stadium, so you don't get to see it,
In your opinion, as a spectator of the match, has it improved the game for you?
VAR improved it. I think, no, well, I look at it in two ways. VAR's probably an alright system. It's how it's getting used by the people that's making the decisions.
That's fair.
And I think in the stadium, if you're not going to, you should get to either see a replay if they've got the screens to see it in stadiums. I think they should show you a replay, but they said they're fearful of showing you replays in the stadium. So if they mic'd up and told you what the decision was, the fourth official, then everybody in the stadium knows. Saves you try to scramble for phones and stuff to see, because that's the only other way you would find out, innit?
That fourth official job, that must be the worst job.
No, remember they used to pick the two linesmen and all along the goal line. They were meant to look for things that happened. They never ever done anything, did they? You never ever seen them. They just stood there and just sort of looked busy, but they never ever done anything either.
No.
But that could be a thing that they could use for in the box, for things like, you see, you're using it like the American football style. They can see something that happens. That's what I thought. That's what they were meant to be doing when they were at the side of the goal as well, looking for infringements in the box if the referee didn't see it. But now we've got VAR, then it's got to be explained to us, because sometimes you're leaving the stadium, you're waiting and somebody saying, oh, by the way, it's been gave for that because there it is on the phone, or somebody, you can get it on your phone sometimes at the end of the game's live on Sky and people have got it. You get to see a replay if maybe somebody round about you. But at the time, when the decision's no gave, then that's it. But you never get to see it until you've come home and watched the game again, and you get to see that decision.
Is it here to stay for you? VAR?
I think it is. It's probably a decent thing if it's used right in the right ways. It should work. Do you think, if you look at Scotland and you look at the games in England, do you think England's VAR's done better than it is up here?
Well, the line seems straight about.
Aye.
I've looked at, I thought it was for clear and obvious errors, and if you look at the big decision of the weekend in the English FA Cup semi-final, the one with Coventry and Man United, all right.
I know.
I mean, was that what VAR was brought in for? I don't know if it was, because the game's about scoring goals, isn't it?
Aye, and it was marginal when you see the line that came across. So if you say if you're in front, you're in front. If you're offside, you're offside. But maybe if they sort of...
You can be that confident with that small margin, mate.
No, probably no, and it's done to, they've just drew that line, and then when you see the line, that's what you think they've got it perfect. When it might not be just perfect, I don't know. No. Plus the cameras, we've not got much far up here. We've got the Disney version of far up here, no. And that's damning as well, because you're only getting certain angles. Look at even Fir Park, you're talking about they have VAR, and then you go to Fir Park and you look how far they're drawing a line for in their stadium. So it's not been all perfect, but I think it's how they interpret it. And I think when you've got referees on the park make mistakes, and they're the same guys that are getting into VAR and interpreting the same mistakes, then they need to get smarter and better at their job. Because I think VAR does work, but I think it's how you use it.
Just on a different subject before we start moving on. I mean, I looked at the 3 Nottingham Forest penalties. Obviously, Claudio Reyna's boy was involved with the first one. Gio Reyna. For me, it was a dive. The second one, a dubious handball, but the third one was a stonewaller, in my opinion. All involved in Ashley Young. So, I mean, they've got their issues down the road and all, but that's the way I've seen the 3 incidents, yeah.
Aye, I never seen them. Never seen the incidents you're talking about, but sometimes you will get some probably horror decisions in the English Premier League, but I think on the whole they're pretty quick at doing it. Plus they've got that many different camera angles, so they can probably come to a decision quicker as well, mate.
Aye, okay. So for you, just to sum up, good or bad, Bar? Or neither at the moment?
Aye, neither. My mate always said to me, when VAR came in, he said his words to me one day was, you know what, see, when we go into Europe, that'll probably help us for the decisions we've had over the years in Europe, with the amount of offside goals and stuff it's cost us. And then when I look it back to the last couple of seasons for us in Europe, I thought, when he mentioned it, and I thought, well, we did get quite a lot of decisions with VAR in Europe, did we know?
But for sure, aye. You know, the one in Dortmund.
Aye, Dortmund, aye. But listen, I think it works, but it's got to be pretty. They've got to get it consistently with certain decisions that they're getting now, with arm strain and things like that. Some of the handball issues in the box, some have been blatant, no gave, and some have been just hit the arm and they've gave it. It's been pretty poor at times throughout the season. So, if they can smarten that up and get right decisions and give everybody the rules, so we know what the rules are at the start, and hopefully they'll be consistent on them. But the fact the problem we've got is most of your referees are inconsistent most weeks, make the decisions anyway.
That's all I've had debate. So what you're telling me is the people running the game, they could improve it. There's a surprise, eh?
Yep, that's where it starts, mate, at the top. It's meant to, they've brought in VAR and the clubs have paid for it, I believe. So it's about then implementing it correctly.
All right. And the stadium, it could be improved with more communication to the Pine supporters.
Aye, 100%. It should be, aye.
Aye, okay. Okay, right, okay. I just want to touch on something else. I want to tell you, we walk down memory lane. Maybe before our time, mate, to be fair, as youngins, But on this day, in the 24th of April, 1976, Rangers won the inaugural Premier League with a victory at Paradise. Derek Johnston scored a goal in just 22 seconds. Was it like the big man, was it? You rated Big DJ, yeah?
Aye, Big DJ, he was in my greatest ever Rangers 11 when we picked it back many years ago.
That was a bit of fun, wasn't it? Now we have to do that again.
Aye.
CD9 gets in it instead of DJ.
But no, Big DJ, what a heater of a ball, played for us for a long time, and Barcelona Bear, and just, like you say, scored early, done it also in a cup final against Hearts. So, aye, wasn't he prone to no scoring for the Glasgow Rangers over the many years he played for us, mate?
Best heater of the ball you've ever seen?
Aye, yep, I think he is. Aye, even that goal, maybe the goal he scored for Scotland against Wales, for the edge of 18-yard box, but the amount of goals he scored.
Any young bears or any old bears that's got a bit of spare time and they want to look at some, watch the Moscow Dynamo Cup final in Barcelona, and you'll see how good a football player Derek Johnston was. I watched that a few months back, just during the winter, there with a bit of time, and Derek Johnston bring the ball out in playing football. It's a joy, along with Dave Smith, I may ask, Mr. Fox's hero. It was a joy. I could ask Fox about that, about Barcelona, but he can't remember a thing about it for all the
No, Big Derek was good on the deck. You know, he could hold the ball up and that. And I mean, he was slimmer back then. Obviously, he got a wee bit top heavy, didn't he? Later on in his career. But listen, he centre back and all. You know, you don't go in and play centre back if you can't hit the ball. You know, and he was comfortable in there as well. But I never liked him when he went back there. I thought he should have always stayed up as a number 9. And then certain games, was it Forfar we played in the cup?
Semi-final of the cup, right?
Aye, he come back. Big Derek had the horn and that, and the game we were 2-0 down to Motherwell at Fir Park. And we come back and beat them 5-3. There was a wee stramash in the terracing a couple of times that day. Game got held up.
Was a couple of boys fell out and a couple of boys came to see them were all right. That's all happened.
Aye. But that day I know about, Big Derek, captain of Glasgow Rangers as well at times, you know, so I thought he was a phenomenal player.
Aye, he's up there. Right, so that was the inaugural. I want your views on this. I know I'm going to put you in the spot tonight. Sorry, you big muckers not here. You're getting off. By the way, you might even win the quiz tonight.
Aye, well, that's debatable.
It might be another each draw. Right, that was the start, 1976, a long, long time ago, mate, yeah? Nearly half a century ago. That's when we moved to playing teams 4 times a year in Scotland. Now, we had always, when we played teams a lot, because we used to have the group stages like they have in the League Cup, but everybody was in it. Like sort of pre-season, it was part of the League Cup, but it was played early on in the season. But since we moved to the 4 times, there's this season, mate. By the time we were finished, we played Hearts 6 times, mate. 6 times. So I just want you, I've got my views, I've stated them on here enough, but I'd be interested in your views, particularly as somebody who's going to watch the same teams with the same managers, with the same setup, live, to get your views on it, mate.
Repetitive, mate. You know, it's, don't get me wrong, you look forward to going to Tynecastle, Easter Road, Pittodrie, and up there when we were getting an allocation. Aye, you look forward to every away game, I think, when you're going to travel. But when it becomes 4 times a season, and then the ones I don't like so much is when you play them in a league game and then you get them in the cup tie-ups the following week, and then you maybe play again. It's so close, but it's what when we change that structure, it's going to be hard to get it back, because these clubs they want us to come and give them our money twice a season to visit them, and I don't think it's going to be hard to change that back to anything else. I think it is better probably you'd only go twice. Creates a wee
Derek, have they want their money now? Wait, what their dating is? Hearts,
well, that's the thing.
Aberdeen.
Yes, well, that's the thing. That could be your argument if you were trying to restructure the league. You could say, well, you don't really want their money because you're cutting their allocations everywhere, and you're saying you're only getting this and that. So, and then you come at the end of the season, you say, oh, we've lost 3 million, we've lost this, we've lost that. But the fair thing is when you go to the stadiums, as we've seen, most of them have got empty spaces because the home support aren't filling it, and then they used to keys before in their stadiums have took back office, and we've only had the one ends. But they will fight tooth and nail to keep us 4 times, because then they're getting Sky to give them money, because we'll be coming, and they think they'll probably get, sometimes they might get twice on the telly in a away game against us, or they might get a game at Ibrox, so they'll no want to give up the four games. That's the issue. But the argument should be, well, you're willing to let your stadiums run empty so much of the season. I mean, think about it, Hearts are maybe the 3rd biggest team in Scotland, and they can't fill 21,500 at Hampden.
Right.
You know?
Right. I get
it's
it.
pretty, and it's pretty
pitiful. 8,000 tickets they took against that mob.
Probably just took that because they usually lie down to them anyway, didn't they? They usually get beat all the time. I know they put a fist up that day, a fight up and that, but 8,000's poor. But that just shows you they shouldn't be shouting for 50-50 in the future for any tickets, and Hearts will be in the same boat. But
the people running our game culpable for all this, and also for 2012, mate, what they done, they ate themselves for the inside out, didn't they?
Well, what they done is they listened to the pit is done because that's what the rest of the clubs, they gave them a vote to do it. They didn't look at the big picture. So they sent us down, and we had to go down and take our punishment. And that scunnered a lot of people as well, because when we come back up, a lot of people refused to go to their stadiums and give them money. And I can't argue with anybody that's done that. Fair play to them. And a lot of them have still stuck to their principles and never done it. And rightly so, if that's what they felt. So we went down, and don't get me wrong, it was good down the leagues, but it wasn't good for the club box or anything like that. But it was good to do something different and go to all these wee stadiums and grounds, and I've done it with my boy. But since we've come back up, you can just tell it was different when we come back up into the Premier League, for even going to the stadiums, for what it was when you were doing the leagues. It was more friendly and more banter and stuff, but it changed when we come back up, and you can see the clubs. They said they would fill their own stadiums, sell out Saturdays. Well, they've not done that. Remember, sell out Saturdays. We'll know by a season book if we don't put Rangers down. They could only get a Sky deal because Sky only wanted a Sky deal because they wanted to put us live on the telly for the games.
9 months it lasted before they had to finish that league set up and get a new TV deal that involved us. That's the reality, mate. 9 months. 9 months. The whole of Scottish football survived 9 months without us, mate.
But it just shows you they hated us that much. They wanted us done. And then they started to pick after tainted titles, as they went along. And then it gets that bad, even if you think back to COVID and all that, when they're actually giving them trophies out before it's due and asking the clubs, telling them, well, maybe hold your money back and all that. And then they're having to go into a vote to say, okay, we'll finish your leagues. They shafted, I think, Hearts and Partick Thistle at one point. They've kept Aberdeen up before, I think, and didn't let somebody at Falkirk. They've moved the Scottish Cup final from one season to the next to give another team a treble. So where's the rule book? We've moved the game so we could play it later, and then they could go and buy players in the summer, and it'd be a totally different team that you're playing.
Oh no, that in January Monday.
January Monday, aye. So you know what it's like, but so you wonder why, and then you look at the product.
You're telling me we're wondering where the sporting integrity is? Is that what you're telling me?
There's no sporting integrity, is there? No.
Yes, you're right, mate. You couldn't read it. You couldn't embarrass them, could you? You couldn't embarrass them, Right, okay. Sorry we digressed there, mate. We go on to subjects that obviously slightly Rangers related, but the mess it is Scottish football. A quick question for you then. Just in your opinion, would you go back to playing teams twice a year? Or
I think we'd all like a wee change, to be honest. But it comes down to how many you're adding and what the quality is going to be like.
Could it be any worse, mate?
Probably no. With a wee bit of freshness. And I think depending on how much you extend it to, but if it's just one up and maybe a playoff down there for the team maybe to come up, then teams that are maybe sitting mid-table that aren't going to get relegated might want to try and play some of their youngsters and some boys and maybe try and play a wee bit of football than just come and play the negative stuff all the time and just play the defensive blocks of 4 and 5 and 4. Other teams might try and play a wee bit of football, but then you're adding them in and you're asking Sky to come and watch and promote these games, Ox, and build this Scottish football up. Let's be honest, most of it's mince, and half the clubs, they haven't got any ambitions to do anything else. Today, like I said, Breaton before fought like mad not to let a team up for the Lowland League, even though they were finishing bottom every year. How's that fair? If teams are wanting to come up and try and progress up a league. They do it in England. If you look at Wrexham, where they've come out at the conference, whatever they call it, a conference, and then they've come up. And now they've been National League, and now they've promoted.
I think I read that Gateshead. I think it's Gateshead. I'm not sure. They weren't allowed to get into the National League because they don't own their stadium, and they can't guarantee they'll have it. So they weren't allowed into the National League, and that's at that. If you like Division 5, yeah, you've got to have the right facilities, and you've got people playing on stadiums that are not fit for purpose, but parts that aren't fit for purpose, and stadiums that are flooding, the whole thing, mate. And he's ripped up and started again. The people and the corruption at the top of your game is diabolical, mate.
They'll need to get sponsors, and they'll need to see what they're going to have going forward, and how they're going to, if they're going to be a restructuring, or if the clubs can actually put pressure on them to get them out and try and get a new regime in altogether to run the game, and promote it.
The other teams would need to wake up, and if I was Hearts and Aberdeen that are arguably fighting for the third and fourth slot as the bigger clubs in Scotland, last weekend would make you wake up. And I'll tell you why. You nailed it. 8,000 Aberdeen tickets for a semi-final, and Hearts can sell their allocation for a semi-final. They're in that. You would start thinking, right, there's something not right here.
Aye, and if you look at Easter Road and all, being Hibs, they're just the same. And twice we've been through there. Twice you could have took probably them out the side, big long stone on the right hand side. Till I keep them and move them for behind the goal. Them it was behind the goal up the other end. You could have moved them into either side of the two stands, and Rangers could have felt that other bit behind the goal, no problem. Twice we could have done that when we went through, but they don't want the money. Office or anybody else for that matter. So, but aye, this shows you when it comes to cup finals and semi-finals, and you're looking at Hearts and Aberdeen, and for what they put in Hampden, it's pretty pitiful. They managed to fill their sort of, I mean, I think their cut is down to 574 rocks. I think that's what we got the last time. It's shocking, you know. It's like,
you may as well have nothing in some respects, if you're being
aye. It's and then the time they put the big thing down the middle and separate, you know, that they don't even put any bodies on the seats. But I think they're managing to fill their grunt to a point. But if that's what they want to do, fine. You know, it's their prerogative. But I think other clubs, I think it's going to be the way forward now. I think allocations are going to be getting slashed. I think they probably should look at it and say, well, I think you should be getting a certain percentage if your grun's that, or at least give some teams the full stand behind the goal. And then you've got 3 other stands to fill yourself. I don't see what the problem is with that. It's not really an advantage to the away support if you're filling 3 stands and you're filling 1, is it?
Well, I think first and foremost, obviously, they're businesses, but we're in the entertainment business, which is football. Yeah, allegedly. Right, we better get these phone lines open big, you know?
Aye.
Right, we're open for anything tonight. What are you taking? DIY?
I'll take DIY, why no?
All right, okay. Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Well, I've just had a text with somebody saying that he only got suspended because he didn't have an apron on when he was cleaning the cookie jar.
Well, I wrote my letter a good character anyway, but
I don't think that helped him.
Well, I didn't join up writing, though. So
it wasn't the letter; it was the pictures. I don't think they helped him.
Well, I was just explaining how it happened. Do you know what I mean? What he was accused of, he was innocent. You know, but. No, I'm still, it's not right. I'm having to do this one part of the dream team, as he says. No, the big nation serving the nation, and I'm having to do it. It's only with me tonight.
Well. I can see him gluing himself to Buckingham Palace gates, you know.
Aye. Maybe somebody will phone up and come on and join us.
Right, okay, so Southside, you're always a positive guy when it comes to the Rangers, eh? Anytime, that's fair. You'll criticise the team, you'll criticise performances, particularly after it. But you're always looking at the next game, you're always positive. We lost 3-0, make it 1-4-0. Yeah, that's the way you look at it. If it was a 2-leg game, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that. Am I right? Am I fair in that?
Aye, I always think the Rangers can win, mate.
Aye, nothing wrong with that. So, can we win these next 6 games?
Mm-hmm. Aye, we can.
Aye. But first and foremost, we need to make it 5. We need to go to St Mirren and win, yeah?
Aye, St Mirren will be the next hardest hurdle away from home down there. We'll not make it easy, they're well set up, aren't they?
Aye.
So, it's just about attitude and application, mate, and making sure that we're putting the pressure on and we're creating chances. So it'll be a hard game. No, it's early kick-off and on to 12 o'clock or something, half 12.
Aye.
But I don't like the kick-offs, mate. I don't like them. But aye, we need to get the job done, mate, and it needs to happen. So we need to just go out and get it done. We're just coming off a good result with a decent level of effort and performance. And it'll be down to him to see who's fit and ready to go, and I'm sure we'll wait and see what team he picks, and hopefully it'll be the right one.
And we can't have the midweek games with full focus come Tuesday after the day off on Monday, full focus on Tuesday, maybe even 2 days off this time of the season, I don't know, come in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, a wee bit on Saturday, all building up to the St Mirren game, yeah?
Aye, you'll be looking to see a reaction for the players and probably set out game plan and whatever, but it's a good chance that they're getting a full week of training. Maybe he's Ridvan a chance of maybe making it on Sunday as well, should he be selected. And I'm sure he'll be keeping a close eye on certain ones with his team pattern in mind. But I think Maestro might come off that performance on Sunday, done relatively well, 1 or 2, maybe he got a chance and didn't take it. But it's not a big party you're going to be going to on Sunday, so it'll be about making the right decisions and maybe good runs and good passing. So St Mirren will make it hard because they're well organised, Ox, as you know. So aye, it will be a hard game, but it's one that has to be won, as we know, because if you want to win this league, there's no margin for error. No matter what happens anywhere else, we're playing it a lot harder than where it should be. But it ain't unachievable, mate. That's the thing. It ain't unachievable.
There's no white flag above your door, is it?
No, mate. No. I had to laugh when Big Phil said he was the only one believing. And I said, well, I think Big Phil never heard me, because I did say ages ago, as you know, no giving up nothing, mate, because they weren't as good as they thought. And eventually, through them, not being as good as they were and us being consistent, we got ourselves right back in it, you know. So we've made it harder again because of recent results and players underperforming. But we've got a chance to rectify it again, because we just need to win and obviously keep scoring goals. But they're not guaranteed, same as we're no, but we believe we can win these next 5 games and take away the cup. And I don't think they're good enough to win the next 5 games. So
I think there'll be a twist, mate.
Aye, well, we've seen a twist already before we thought we were going to see one, didn't we? Let's be honest, we never seen that coming. We know we weren't playing great, but we never seen we didn't see them capitulate in the 2 games for what they really did to what might have, maybe people thought we weren't playing great, but the 2 performances were bad, really bad. But hopefully that's them out the road and they'll be a lot more positive and better going forward.
I'm hoping that the twist is in our favour, mate. That's what I'm hoping, obviously. You know, right.
Well, so, you need to make your own luck, mate, don't you?
Aye, you need to go out and perform, mate. We're a better team when we play at pace and we move the ball, and we're getting teams turning. When we're slow and turgid and we're playing the horseshoe football, mate, it doesn't look good, does it? No,
we need to be on it, and we need to be fast forward thinking and energy. We need the energy. We've lost some poor goals, but that mob across the city, when you look at their semi-final, lost goals. So we know they lose goals, but we just need a better attitude and application. It's what we do. Goal difference is slightly against us, so you just need to make sure that you win your games first and foremost, and hopefully keep scoring as many goals as you can now, and no margin for error.
Aye. I'll see. Cojones. Right, you have the jingle. Come and join us. 0141 356 1972. Give us your thoughts. Anything Rangers related, come and speak to us. Sadly, mate, 10 years ago today, Sandy Jardine departed Southside. Obviously, a player of great 60s, 70s, 80s, mate. His career was just unbelievable. And at Ibrox, to have a stand named after you, it's not going to happen to many people, is it? Let's be honest.
No, sorry, I couldn't get off mute. Was hit that was like, how's this no button? Sandy Jardine, he was a great player, phenomenal career, played a lot of times at the club, and I think it's over 500 and something. You'll probably tell me, but it's about 5, 6, probably, or 550 anyway, maybe. Not as many as 590, but it's round about there. I think took penalties, but played well. Scored that goal in the Driver Cup final. It wasn't ever shown. It was
912 professional appearances, mate.
Because when he left, he went to Hearts, didn't he? And he played well. He played well at Hearts. I think he was playing sweeper or something like that for them back then. But he was a great player. And then he became an ambassador, didn't he? Remarks to Hampden and stuff as well. He led that. So,
in your memory, mate, and I know your memory plays tricks, would you have thought that Sandy Jardine played 238 games for Hearts?
No, I wouldn't have thought he'd played that many. I know I think he was there maybe. I thought he was only there maybe three seasons. But
6 seasons.
As many as that, I know. He got Player of the Year as well. I think our Players' Player of the Year, I believe, in the time he was at Hearts. But I went on there and he played a long time, played well in a different position where he played for Rangers. I think John Gregg probably got rid of one or two a wee bit early, just to try and change the team up, I think. So he had a bit of longevity, and he probably looked after himself as being a professional, because they weren't all great back in the day. Looking after themselves back then, Ops.
No, a different generation. No, but top footballer, playing. Obviously came in to the team as an 18-year-old. Made his debut. I think it was a week after the Berwick game. Maybe I've not checked that out, mate. He came into the team, maybe played at centre forward, and then developed into, if you like, a sort of attacking right back. Would that be fair? And then went and played sweeper for Hearts at the finish of his career, mate.
Many World Cups did he go to?
74 and 78, mate. Yeah.
2 World Cups, huh?
Aye.
He was phenomenal right back. Been done well and got a bit of success, didn't he, at the club? But to have that longevity of playing and lasting, I didn't think it was as long as 6 seasons at Hearts. I thought it was a wee bit shorter than that. But it just shows you.
His last game for us was 82. I think it was a Scottish Cup final. I'll not ask you who was the man of the match the week after. I wouldn't embarrass you.
No, I wouldn't know anyway.
Yeah. What a player that boy was.
I've heard that. Did he score 2 goals that day?
No, he didn't. His big
mate did. Did you? I take it they were set up by somebody like,
Oh, well, of course.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
82, and then he finished playing with Hearts in 88. I wouldn't have got that, mate. I honestly wouldn't have got that 87, 88 season. I didn't think he was there that long. Yeah.
No. No, he's done well. Done well as a player and that, like I said. Just shows you time flies, doesn't it?
Doesn't it just? But so then would it be true to say you have greats, legends, and then you have good players, Sandy Jardine, great legend, whatever word you want to use, he'd be up there, mate.
Sandy Jardine, legend.
Aye.
Aye. Probably gets there as a legend. Aye.
Part of the trebles in the 70s, part of the Barcelona Bears, yeah. Yeah. Made his debut in 1967 and finished playing for the club in 1982, mate. It's some career in it. 657 appearances, 28 sub. And remember, there wasn't the subs there is now, and scored 84 goals. People have looked at him like Tav as a sort of attacking fullback, mate. So maybe when you look at Tav's, I know it's different here. Scottish football was a lot more competitive then. You can't really judge it, but he only scored 84 goals. So maybe Tav's has turned into perspective, mate.
Aye, well, he listened to some good team. He played against some good players back in these times as well, and played with some good players with us. But I don't think the speed was there as it is now. The tempo of the game, I think it's a lot quicker now than it was back then. Didn't he always? He always seemed to be always turning up and odd. Wasn't he injured very often, Sandy Jardine? Pretty reliant as well for that point of view. Then obviously, like I said, had a role in the club as well later on after his career and stuff. So aye, he was a good player. Wee bit hard to compare him to Tav, but Tav takes penalties, I suppose, and so did Sandy Jardine. But I think the pace has changed and stuff, and Tav, I think, plays that always sort of, well, Sandy Jardine was an overlapping fullback and all, wasn't he, at times, So at times, but mainly he was defending. That was what his job was back then. The wingers done the job for the Rangers back then, didn't they?
Yeah, he's played, the way it was, he played 52 games in Europe, mate, and scored 2 goals through that career, mate.
Bayern Munich's one at Ibrox.
Aye.
I can't think of the other one now, but that was one that springs to mind.
It was 1968, 69, well before our time, mate.
Well, aye. So it was 1972.
That's also true, mate.
Aye, you're correct.
It's also true, but aye. So I think he's doing as one of the Rangers' greats, legends, whatever word you want to use, mate. And obviously, to get a stand named after you, there's only 4 in the place. It's just, I think the emotions of the time and what he'd done and with the club and where we were, I think it was a fitting tribute. People will be able to debate that, but it's done now, so it's the Sandy Jardine stand, and they'll have that memorial to the man forever, mate.
Aye, no, I think you're right in what you were saying there. Wee bit of emotion and stuff at the time, and then changed it for the Govan to the Sandy Jardine, but it's a tribute to the guy, to him himself and that. So I'll always be that. The Sandy Jardine stand there. So aye, club done right by it. He is a legend at the club. So, and same as we've got the Bill Struth main stand, so it's tribute to that gentleman as well.
Yeah, well, what a man, that's a different level. Different level, you're talking about your parents or your grandparents talking about the guys who made Rangers. Struth would be up there, mate.
Aye, 100%.
But it's always interesting again if people want to look at the YouTube stuff and they look at if they want to look at 1975 when we won the league in Collins Stadium School. Watch the feet as Sandy Jardine. Evening, I think this is AK Senior. Am I correct?
Hello.
How are we doing?
Alec Kelly Senior, yes.
Yes, I believe so. So you've got a lot to answer for, mate.
Have I? Right. I was on to talk about the Sandy Jardine.
Yes, carry on, mate.
Well, Sandy Jardine was a Rolls Royce, a fullback. He was class. He started off, as you know, as a centre forward with Rangers, and he moved back to fullback. And he just was elegant on the ball all the time. And in actual fact, you probably know, but Scotland had to move Danny McGrain, one of the finest full-backs in Scotland, to left back. So Sandy Jardine was that good. They just couldn't keep him out the team. He was a phenomenal man, obviously, as you said. He was an ambassador for Rangers, especially during that Charles Green period. And that's when 1961 seen the first game with the famous Rangers forward line, Henderson, McMillan, Miller, Brandon, Molson. And one of the finest forward lines I've seen was Joe Wallace, McLean, Russell, Johnson, Smith and Davy Cooper. And we can't get back to the days, unfortunately. Scottish players are just not there. But
going back to
forward line.
Going back to Sandy Jardine, it's all right to call you Alec, is that all right?
Aye, no bother.
Is it all right? Going back to Sandy Jardine, would you say he was the type of player who uses intelligence to steal the ball off forwards rather than crunching tackles?
Okay, he would pick the winger's pocket. He timed his tackle brilliant. And you also need to remember, he played against Beckenbauer and he scored the goal in the semi-final with the cup winners to get us through with Derek Parlane to beat them 2-0. He was just an all-round great player. And as you've already said, the longevity of his career was phenomenal. And was that because of Jock Wallace and the Ghislaine Sands and the fitness? Bobby Russell, I watched the podcast tonight, he said that the training that they done then put them in good stead.
Aye. Bobby Russell, what a footballer. Yeah. You never know.
Yes.
You never know. He might join us on here, man. But, so you're comparing the team for the early 60s to the team that Sandy played in, and that would be the 78 treble team, yeah? That forward line.
Yes, they were great days, and then obviously the Barn days, the early 80s, hot until soonest game. And in actual fact, unfortunately, I moved on to other things in my private life, and I didn't really get as much as I would like during
we can have a whole show in your private life if you want. We could make that a special if you wanted.
Well, I went higher up in the Freemasons, so that was why.
We're in good company.
I took my grandson, Alex boy, Owen, when the Rangers were getting kicked to pillar to post, and I says, they're not doing that to my club. So we became season ticket.
Showed it to the wheel.
Yes, we became season ticket holders. We got the Rangers back to where they should be. And I hope the day when the league is
called. How come you're so articulate, intelligent, and your boys know?
I never caught up. Say again.
How come you're so articulate and intelligent, and your boys know?
Well, maybe I dropped him as a child. I don't know. I can't remember. Or maybe his mother. You know.
He'll be putting pins in an ox-chair doll. Listen, I'll ask you. You mentioned the two forwards line. We're talking about Sandy Jardine. Obviously, you're a slightly different vintage for us. A lot more than me, and just a bit more than South Side, right? So, if we were asking you, what do you think of the state of Scottish football? How would you sum it up?
Well, the state of Scottish football, I think there's too much hatred between the clubs now. Or maybe hatred's too strong. A definite dislike. And back then, Hibs, Hearts, Aberdeen, they could come to Ibrox and were fully Scottish international players back in the 60s. Motherwell, tremendous teams. New, of course, you already said tonight, they come and they just play Banksy 5s and Banksy 4s because they don't have the players, they don't have the money. And in the days, Rangers would pay maybe £30-40 extra on wages compared with Motherwell. New is thousands and thousands of pounds a difference, so obviously you attract a different class of player. And the fans, Motherwell would play in regular in front of maybe 16,000, 17,000 now what they play in 3,500, 4,000. So again, the finance of Scottish football has just totally collapsed, and Rangers and Celtic have got huge. You need to remember, when I went to Ibrox, some games you would be playing in front of 9,000, 10,000. It was only your big games that you would start out. We turned up a Sunday game, which they were against it because of the Sabbath and the Sunday against Hibs, 63,000 for a league game at Ibrox. It was incredible. There were queues everywhere. And we just went down to the game as you would normally go 20 minutes before kick-off. And we were standing outside, and I think that they hold up the kick-off to let all the fans in. They just turned up.
I think Southside missed that man. He was at Mass. Southside?
Probably.
I was just getting rid of the shock that AK called his boy after own archdeacon. That's what I was getting. Anyway.
By the way, I really enjoy the banter between you two. They're obviously very close friends.
It's a bit debatable, but some people might see it that way. But no, you're true in what you're saying. I mean, if you remember, you were going to Ibrox and stuff, and as you say, the crowds haven't always been there at times. You know, Ibrox was empty many a time for a good number of years, especially after we were doing the stadium up and stuff in the 80s, and then obviously when Souness came in that. We got the revolution and we started to see players like Terry Butcher coming, Chris Woods and that. And then we started to see success. But I think it's the brand of football and the manager. I said on here probably last week, I thought Hibs, not my favourites as a team. Like you said, I think you're right. A lot of them do. As they hate us, they absolutely hate us. And you can tell how they put us down the leagues and stuff. And everything else they said they would do that they didn't, and we don't. That's the way I see it. But they hate everybody. Scottish football's hating itself. But Hibs had a manager who's wanting to try and play football. So in the games I've seen Hibs come to Ibrox and to Easter Road, I believe that he's actually tried to play a game of football against us, which is good because you can see. Then you can maybe see a bit more excitement, and we can go and try and create chances. So for that, I'd like to say thanks to him because it's something that you're seeing. Other managers are coming, like you say, 5-4. Even when you're going to their stadium, it's 5-4. And then we've just got to try and break them down. And then Ozzy looking for a set piece or a long throw in, or it gets to the last 10 minutes of the game, they're flinging on 3 attacking players in the hope that they can maybe nick something. And then it might be on Sky, as we're going to be on Sunday. And Sky are actually paying a pittance as it is, but then we're saying they should pay more, but they'll be saying, why should we? We can see the product you're going to be watching on Sunday at St Mirren. If St Mirren come in and just sit tight, we're the team that's got to go. Well, we are the team that's got to go and win anyway, but we've got to break them down. But it might not be a great advert for the game. We've seen games this season that haven't been great adverts. So it's down to the managers and how they set their teams up and what they're dishing up to the support when they're actually putting a team out. If I was following a team that was just playing negative all the time, home and away, you'd be thinking, why do I want to go and watch that every week? But some of them do turn up, so fair play to the away fans that do it. But some it's no entertaining for them either, and they must be when they're going to watch games. So it's down to the manager, mate, and to make the teams attack and try and make it entertaining.
Right, I've got a wee bit of trivia for you both. Yeah, we're going to go back to 1981-82 season. Yeah, and it was Sandy Jardine's last home game. His last home game, Southside, under John Gregg, right? This was Sandy Jardine's last home game, and I'm going to give you the team. I'm going to give you the team because I wouldn't ask you to name it. The team was Jim Stewart, Sandy Jardine, Alex Muller, John McClellan, Colin McAdam, Jim Bett, Davy Cooper, Gordon Dale, Derek Johnston, Ian Redford, John McDonnell. Substitutes: Jimmy McIntyre and Billy Davis. Yeah? Jimmy
McIntyre?
Aye.
I can't remember him. I remember Billy Davis.
Right. So Rangers won 4-0 versus Dundee. It was Sandy Jardine's last game. I'm going to ask you two things. We scored 4 goals that day. Yeah, and I gave you the team. The forward line was Cooper, Dale, Johnson, Redford and McDonald, if you like. And I want you have a guess. It's not a catch, it's not a trick. You just have a guess. Who scored the goals and what was the crowd? You can go first, Mr. Kelly. Have a go.
I would fancy Derek Johnston for a goal.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the big centre half, Colin McAdam.
Yep. Big gentleman, big Colin.
Cooper didn't score many goals. Maybe Redford would chuck in with a goal.
Good guess. I like Ian Redford as well.
No.
Good effort. Southside.
I know many goal scorers in that team. Derek Johnston for 2.
All right. Good.
And the crowd, I would reckon, in the early 80s, they were going through a bad thing. As Southside said, the stand would be getting built at that particular time. Maybe 12,000.
All right. We build the Govan stand then. Sandy Jardine stand appropriately, Southside, yeah?
Right.
Yeah. All right. Southside, have a go at the goal scorers.
What year was it?
1981-82. Do you want the league, the team?
Who was the team we were playing?
We were playing Dundee, and our team was Stewart, Jardine, Miller, McClellan, McAdam, Beck, Cooper, DL, Johnson, Redford, and McDonald. Just a guess, mate. Just a guess.
I'll go Redford. I think Redford probably scored that day because he did act round about that time. That was sort of him having a wee spell. Gordon Dale, did you say there?
Mm-hmm.
And who was the other striker? John McDonald. Derek John. I'll go with DL, probably nicked one, and I'll go with Big Derek because he was one of my favourites.
The crowd was 8,500.
Oh, I never asked me for a crowd, but 8,500.
8,500, and 3 goals with Gordon DL. Who was new famous for Radio Clyde, and 1 for Redford. So you call that a score draw with the keys. Good effort. Good effort.
Well, Ian Redford, we signed him for Dundee. I think he was about £210,000. I think he'd scored 9 goals or something at Dundee when we signed him. And he came to us. And then eventually, if you remember, Alec, he went to left back and left midfield. That was the one he said he famously seen Hamish off his line and thought he would chip him. Remember? And he chipped him and hit it off the post and in. In the final at Hampden.
Hamish McAlpin wrapped himself around the goalpost.
Aye. That was him. I just seen Hamish off his line and thought I would chip him. But some goal.
Also missed a penalty last minute of cup final, didn't he?
Aye. Go to a replay, didn't it?
Aye,
it was, aye. 4-1, the replay, wasn't it?
Aye.
The first game was dire, wasn't it? That was rotten, that game, wasn't it? If we'd scored that penalty, we'd have robbed them that day, I think, Ox.
We were down at Wembley in 1979, and that was the time they played the Hibs in the cup final. Was the three games before they settled it?
2-0 each draws and a 3-2.
Aye. 1-1 goal, wasn't it? Is it?
And we were at the Wembley for one game. We were away for 5 days. We were in safari.
We don't get that. We don't get that much time after we Southside.
No, we don't.
We left on the Wednesday for the Saturday game and come back on the Monday. It's terrific.
I bet you was right, Mr. Kelly and Southside. We've reached that time in the evening. If you can possibly put your phone on mute or be quiet, we're going to have a tune if you want to stay with us, Mr. K.
Okay, I'll stay right here then. Okay.
Right, great to hear you. Right, let's have a tune.
As we go marching down the Paisley Road, the west, the doors and the windows open wide, you will hear the people cheer. The Glasgow Rangers boys are here. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. Blue is the colour, football is the game. We're all together, Glasgow Rangers is our name. For we are the best team in all Scotland. and Glasgow Rangers is our name. So bring on the Celtic, your Hibs and Aberdeen, your Dundee United, we're the best you've ever seen. We play hand on heart, God save the Queen. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. As we go marching down the Paisley Road West, the doors and the windows open wide, you will hear the people cheer, the Glasgow Rangers boys are here. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. Blue is the colour, football is the game. We're all together, Glasgow Rangers is our name. For we are the best team in all Scotland, and Glasgow Rangers is our name. So bring on the Celtic, your Hibs and Aberdeen, your Dundee United, we're the best you've ever seen. We play hand on heart, God save the Queen. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. It's Glasgow Rangers for me.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
With the Scotland manager he played under, was it?
Oh, he would have started
Bobby
off.
Brown or
He would have maybe started. Who get his cap?
Wally Ormond. It'd be Wally Ormond, the 74 World Cup.
1970. Tommy Docherty, was he about then? And then Wally Ormond.
Tommy Docherty, aye.
Wally Ormond.
We went down to a lot of Scotland games there, and one of the best Scotland debuts I've ever seen was a guy called Alec Cropley from Hibs.
Oh,
what a left foot that boy had.
Oh, good football player, huh?
Oh, he was a tremendous football player. I think he got a bad broken leg or something like that.
That's the point. That's the point you make. What we've done is it just the football clubs? It's society. We're not producing football players like we did.
Aye, that is true. I mean, we came from Burnbank and everybody knew about Davy Cooper and everybody knew about Jim Bett. They were two tremendous players, but there was also an awful lot of other players who didn't make it because of drink or woman or wasted their life otherwise.
Or both.
Or both. Yes, but Davy Cooper was always going to make it, and Jim Bett was the same. Tremendous. And of course, the famous Jock Stein came from Burnbank. My father knew him well and didn't like him. But the Stein family were all Rangers supporters in Burnbank. All Rangers supporters, but Jock obviously moved over to Celtic and played with him, then went away to Wales and then come back to Celtic.
Can you put your finger on it? So say all these teams when you were starting to watch the Rangers, they had all decent players, didn't they?
Aye.
Scottish players,
aye. Even when you're looking at, you look at Aberdeen when they had their Miller McLeish, and you had a Dundee United centre backs, Harry Negerty. And they were good, they were decent. Jim McLean, Paul Sturrock, Eamon Bannon, you had Holt, Dundee United, Hamish McAlpine, as we said, and Maurice Malpass, who obviously went on and played at Scotland. Aberdeen were littered with players and all that were half decent under Fergie, but he put a mentality into them. He'd left St Mirren and where the crowds were pretty poor, and he'd been in there trying to drum up a support. He was new in football, and probably be his rejection at Rangers to a point and all when he came up here to be manager at Aberdeen. But he was fiery, he was forgiving, and he had that attitude, and he didn't want to get beat. And then he gave it to the Aberdeen players, because most of them were off of Aberdeen. When they had Rugby in there, Miller and McLeish, although McLeish was for Barhead originally in the Bluenose, but he went up to Aberdeen and played there for the amount of time that he did. And he built that mentality up there, and eventually he managed to turn, as you say, us a name over a period of time. At that time, and he had European success. We beat Real Madrid, Dundee United, gone to a European final as well within the times under Jim McLean. They won a league title. They said about 13 or 14 players that he used more or less that whole season. But the football standard was better, Rox. You seen better football players. No, it's stifled. Maybe because players played maybe up the parts and that. Wayne used to go out and play football all the time. He used to get chased with a police at 10 o'clock. He used to play at the church gates and that. And they'd come along, you'd have to bolt, but you were out playing at 10 o'clock at night under the street lights and that. And he's played football during the week up the parts and that, and he's all play for your school team, your BB team, and you'd maybe start growing up playing amateur teams and that. But I think when you're getting these soccer schools of performance, and then they're maybe changing Wayne's habits. I've listened to James McFadden talking, and he said people didn't want you. They don't want Wayne's to dribble anymore. They didn't want me to dribble. They wanted me to take the ball one touch, lift my head and pass it. And he said he refused. He wanted to keep going and taking players on, because you're taking the creativity out of a winger. Look at some of the wingers we've had over the years. Some of them, you just look at them and you think, you don't really have any skill. You're just going to hit the ball by the player and run by him, because you don't have that bit where if you look at a player like Mark Walters, used to come up, double shuffle, cut inside you, cut outside you, had a level of skill. Davy Cooper had a level of skill. If you looked at Barry Mackay at a point when he played when he came into the Rangers team as a winger, didn't really show that skill where he could go and beat 2 and 3 men. He did it at the odd time in flashes, but most of his time he'd just kick the ball by you and try and run by you. And then he would stop and try and cut inside. He wasn't going. Cortez, you look at him now, he takes a ball and wants to go and take the player on. He's got skill and level of ability. You can see it in the short time we've had him. So players don't develop. You either have that or you don't have it. Scott Wright can go by players as well. We know he's got ability.
I must have missed that Southside.
I think Scott Wright has went in a run a few times and beat players with ease early period of time we've had him, but he's hardly showed it. But there's certain games where he's done it. But he has got ability, but he's never consistent. You want players to have ability and vision and skill, determination, a bit of heart and desire. And that's all you look for. But developing players, if they've not got a wee trick in them and they play out wide, then they'll never have it as they get older, like 18, 19. You learn all this when you're younger, you know this. You learn all your wee flicks and tricks. If you're taking that out of players, then you're just wanting the rigid stuff, take the one touch and pass. Fair enough, but I like to see my wingers go and take men on, show a bit of skill. It's what we pay to see, how tricky winger, as they used to say, innit?
Mr. Kelly?
Could I come in there? Obviously, I'm 72 years of age, and we played back in the 60s, and we would go up the park. Any park in Burnbank, Hamilton was always football. That's all they played. And anyway, we would go up 10, 11-year-old, and all the men would be playing. And it wouldn't be 11 aside, it could be 15, 16 aside. Right? And we were told, you play on that bit of grass, and all the kids would all be playing. And the south side said, Davy Cooper, at 9-year-old, we'd be playing against guys at 15 and 16. He was that good. And that's where he learned his skills. And also we went to the school parks, and the janitor let us play in the school parks because it kept the vandals away from smashing the school windows. And we would play football for 4 hours. Wouldn't it be an hour and a half? And it could be maybe just 8 or 9 aside, because it would depend who turned up after the drink and the Friday night type thing. And we had a great time, and that's the way football was. And then all of a sudden, these clubs come in, boys' clubs come in, and they would supply them with football strips, and they would turn their head and they would sign for this club, and they couldn't even play football. They couldn't kick a ball, but they would be wearing a football strip and saying, "Oh, I'm a great footballer." And the grassroots of Scottish football in the last 50 years has just went organised, but organised poor. I would say it's a poor standard.
Fun enough, Southside used to do that. His Johnny used to let them in, but had to stop because he kept breaking the windows. His shooting was that bad.
Aye, you know my statue. Don't use that. But aye, I know it's this means I've got computers now and it's Football Manager and stuff. But I know some of the kids that I know, and some of them that I've known over the years. There's a few of them at professional clubs now in the Premier League, and when they went in there for when they were 13 and upwards, I like. I know you know yourself, Albion's like a McDonald's and that, but I'll not tell you the club, but one of the clubs was strict and said you're not beating the McDonald's anymore, and they get blood tested every so often and all that. So the clubs are probably taking it quite serious with the kids to a point. But I think
that's the road Big Stevie's career.
I scared of needles. But you know, kids are just. I just think when you look at Scottish football now, like it's hard for certain teams are doing it, where they're getting forced into playing some younger kids, right? And some of them are getting a lot more game time. I'm just disappointed that our club isn't getting the chance to produce some of your youngsters. We've probably had a couple of groups now in the last number of years since Gio's been there, Gerard's been there, and now we've got Clement in. And some of them have been a bit younger and now they've made the progression. I feel sorry for somebody like Leon King, you know, who's hardly kicked a ball in 2 seasons. Was flung into the deep end through necessity in the Champions League, and now the boy can't get in the team. I don't believe, and I think Ox agrees, that I don't think he gets to play at centre back at Glasgow Rangers. I don't think that's no. So either that boy Clement can find him a place where he can try and develop him, or unfortunately, and a Rangers supporting fan as well of the club, we'll probably have to move the boy on because we have no progressed that boy in any way, shape or form. The last few times I've seen him, it's actually been for Scotland under 21s, playing in midfield and right back box.
How many minutes he's actually played? I'm going to put you on the spot, Mr. Kelly, right? I'm going to ask you who your all-time favourite Rangers player was, and maybe the best player you ever seen, in your opinion. It might be 2 different players.
My all-time favourite Rangers player and the best player I've ever seen is the same guy, Jim Baxter.
Jim Baxter.
I was in the club one night and they were all talking about Cruyff and Pele, and I said Jim Baxter was the finest player I've ever seen. Jim Baxter had the ability to trap a ball and players would actually move away from him because they didn't want to be nutmegged. They wouldn't tackle him. Have you ever watched the old films of Jim Baxter? He's got the space in the world. Why is that? Because the guy was a genius with a ball. It just, I would be 13 at the time, maybe 14. I know it would be a child's eyes looking at him. But it just, in the days when you went to the supporters club, you could rhyme off the team. It wasn't this 15 squad players. It was 11 players, and if somebody was injured, the reserve came in. And the minute Baxter's name was on the team sheet, we all knew we were going to win. Simple as that. Because he just won Ralphie Brand or Davy Wilkes and Jimmy Miller. He could just pass a ball to them when we scored. He was a genius.
Would your old man agree with that sort of side?
Aye, and the old Jimmy, who's no I talked to, he said that, he says, what a player, and just as Alex summed up, he just said gallus, great left foot, composure, could beat a man, just trap the shooter, and all that, you know, he said, wonderful to watch, just glided across the park, you know, and as you said, always made space for himself. And you seen what he was doing at Wembley when he went down there, when England had won the World Cup and Scotland went down, and he said, because he was there that day down at Wembley, and he's like, what a performance he put on, no? He said, just, and like you say, you had belief that with him on the park, that you're going to win that day, you know, but he did say he just glided over the park, Ox, you know, as a football player, and was gallus, had the gallus about him.
Aye, exactly. Obviously, before our time, but a true, fantastic football player. But not the game far too young, but what a player, aye, okay, aye, good call. I don't think anybody could argue with that, Mr. Kelly. You know, that's a top player playing with a top side at the time. You know, and Rangers team. Some people argue that the '64 team was arguing.
And again, going back to my earlier point about the money difference, maybe a Rangers player earning maybe £40 or £50 extra. If they'd gave Jim Baxter the money, he would have stayed with us. But unfortunately, the board wouldn't do it, and they sold him. And the rest is history, as they say. Jokestein took over as soon as Baxter left, and we lost to 9 in a row. And we should never. Dominance of Scottish football then was superior, far superior to Celtic then.
It's funny, like, you can make mistakes in players, and you know it comes back to haunt you. You know, we've made a few in the last few years, Southside. You know, bringing players in, letting certain players go, keeping them too long, letting others go too quickly. Yes. See, before I go,
can I just mention the present manager? I really trust. Come on, I really trust that man can do something, but unfortunately we don't have the funds. If we don't win the league, we don't have the Champions League money, and so we don't really have the funds to do an awful lot. But I really think if we stick with him, I know it's hard when you start getting results like Ross County and Dundee. They were both terrible games, terrible results, but I think if we stick with the guy and give him the next season, I think we might see an awful difference in the present Rangers football team.
I hope you're right. He's got my fullback, and you know, and obviously we're fickle sometimes as fans. Yeah. We criticised him after the last 2 games, but if you look at I've enjoyed speaking to you. I'll hang up the phone and I'll put your programme back on and listen to the comedy show of the 2 years. Cheers. Great to speak to you. Right, thank you. Good night.
Cheers. Thanks for phoning in. Been a pleasure.
What is it? What Ali says? What is it? Come on, the Jers. Is that what he says?
I think he does. Aye.
Right. Good night.
Speak to you soon.
Good night.
There you go. That shocked you, Southside.
It certainly did. I wasn't expecting that. The gentleman spoke a lot of sense. It was good to hear and good to get in a wee bit of, well, no, our memory lane because he's a bit older than us, but to listen to some of the stuff he was saying, it was good, it was different.
Yeah. Aye, it was great to hear from him. Listen, as a perspective there, and again, for sort of, if there's any younger bears listening, YouTube, Jim Baxter, the Wembley games are obviously there. Some of the Rangers performances, obviously the coverage and the videos on these great, but you'll see some of the moves, some of the skills. It's all there for you to look at now, isn't it?
Aye, you can find quite a bit of stuff for Rangers.
Do you ever get down a rabbit hole on a winter's night when you there's nothing on, there's maybe no one here, and you go on YouTube and you start watching stuff? Have you ever done?
Aye, I have.
The stuff you watch, but you know what I
mean. No. It is blue, but it's usually Rangers. The old archive stuff and that. I'd get sent one the other day. One of the boys sent it, and they were talking about this is when I used to love going to away games, and it was a game at Tannadice, with the old terracing behind. I eventually opened it up, but I could see it. That's what the caption said. It used to be good going to watch Rangers in away games, and it was the old Tannadice with the terracing behind and the old stone round the side, the big steep terracing, if you remember.
Aye, with
the big wall, that big wall, I remember. Because now they're just scunnered with away games and trying to get the tickets and the hassle that you're having to go through and all that to try and get them. Whereas back in the day, it was easier to go and watch the football. You paid in. I used to pay in up there at the other side of the city, even for the games. As long as you're up there before 1:45, they had a pay-in gate where you could go into the town and buy a ticket and go down the Paisley Road, buy a ticket. And one of the few of the places down there, I think Greaves used to sell tickets for them as well, didn't they? The old sports shop. The Scots Emporium, aye. And Buchanan's down in the Paisley Road. They used to have tickets for the games where you could just go down and buy it, £1.50. I think I've still got ticket stubs in there for the games where I got tickets. And other times, like you say, we just decided jump in the tune, jump in the 62 or the 64. Can't remember what one it was. Up there and then just pay it. Aye, but I think we used to stick to one of them. I think it was 64. I can't remember, but aye, and you just went up and paid your £1.50, and that was you into the game to watch the famous Glasgow Rangers up there.
Aye. Listen, come and join us, give your thoughts. We're going to do a wee bit of memory lane. I think Sandy's maybe driven that, but it's all valid, and we're concerned about the state of Scottish football because ultimately it affects your club because there's a league we play in Southside.
Aye, and like you say, the price of tickets goes up, and the price for the ordinary supporter to go to the game or even take his kid to go to the game, as a lot of people do. It's costly, and then obviously you've got your transport, or you've got train, or if you're going up in a supporters bus or whatever, and it gets harder for them and all to try and get tickets as well to run a bus.
Running a bus, mate, no, is just get, it's so much harder, and there wasn't the worry or the everybody scrambling for tickets. There was at certain games, but every week, gone through to Tynecastle, all the buses we were filled, there'd be no worry about tickets. There'd be pine-in gates. Now, would you say 584? How do you run a bus?
Aye. Last time we went there, we ran 19-seater or something, So, aye, it's poor. It's poor. And I think that's your last game of the season, isn't it? Tynecastle. So, that'll be a mad scramble that day.
That wasn't done deliberately, was it?
I know. It's poor. But I'm sure Hearts will probably give up tickets that day because they're finishing third anyway. I think if there's enough demand, there'll be Bears will get in there if we can. But aye, it's poor for that. But aye, it's harder and harder, and the buses are you still see a lot of buses on the road travelling up. A lot of them are still full. But it's a nightmare to run a bus, and the prices are getting charged now for the buses as well for the places that you're going.
Here's an example, mate. How much for, say, Ross County? How much are they charging just to hire the bus, mate?
Ross County's over £1,000 knots.
Right. So that's £20 a skull before you start, just to cover your costs.
Aye, it's about our 20. It's about our 1,000, mind you. But aye. I think if you were going to Dingwall, I think you'd be charging £30. And if you put it into perspective, you can't go up there and back for £30. Right, you couldn't get a train. If you want to drive it up and back, could you go up and back and £30 of fuel? Depending, maybe a bit more you've got, but I still think it's a long drive up and back.
You break it for that, mate. Maybe
you can sit in a bit of comfort, and now and again you can have a couple of sherbets and get up, see the game and get back. So Aberdeen's a score of that £25 to go up to Aberdeen and that, for away fans that are maybe coming as a non-member on your bus. So aye, it's costly, and same as when you're paying the buses now as well for your season. As you're going as a member, the members' fees have all went up as well from what it used to be, as you expect to other years. But aye, so it's no cheap to follow your team, same as it's no cheap to go and watch Rangers just at Ibrox most weeks,
No.
The price of a ticket, if you're not a season ticket holder's quite high.
Aye, what are you talking about? Average price now?
40 odd quid, aye. If you add a kid's ticket into that and you add in they want something to eat and all that, and you know what it's like, it becomes an expensive day out.
And some people, some genuine fans, haven't got the money, and it's no nice, mate, because it has got expensive. Yeah.
Aye, it is, and probably because the money that we're buying players at and giving them the mad wages to entice them to the club, that doesn't help. I don't think it should be as dear as it is, but it is. And we all struggle to sort of pay it. No matter who it is, we all struggle to pay it because everybody's got other bills to contend with as well. Well, sorry, I forgot about Bridge. I forget about Bridge. He's comfortable for him, but and
Fox is loaded.
Stevie, the big Stevie, obviously.
There's only me and you, Pop.
I know. Got just given pages.
We'll take care of it.
But no, it's like you say. So it's how it's priced. In fairness, that semi-final I thought was priced pretty reasonable for a change, and I think with being us and them in the cup final, I think it should still be pretty reasonably priced because I think they sort of keep it reasonable. Nobody up in the 50 odd quid things. I think for the West Stand behind the goal, it might go up maybe a $5, but if it goes up to 35, say that's no bad.
They should be paying you to watch the game.
Oh, I know. I was in there and think me. It wasn't. It was all right. It was about 3/4 of the way up the back for the back of the stand. It wasn't a bad view, but and you're having to stand for 90 minutes. I've heard a few people. There was a couple of older gentlemen and that couldn't really stand docks, and they were asking people to sit down, and I felt sorry for them because the boys, people in the front of them in the front, it's a domino effect, isn't it? And they were saying like, I'm paid to sit in my seat and I've got to stand because everybody's standing behind the goal. But I think, I know you maybe know, but most people, I think now, when that happens, they all go for the south stand upper because they've all sit up there. Because behind the goal, the majority of people now are standing, and the same in the north section of Hampden as well.
Aye, that would be fair. And some people are standing because the view's that bad if they sit down, mate.
To be honest, see if you were down the front of Hampden, where the Union Bears like to go and all that, it's murder. It's no good view at all. You know, you don't want to be anywhere down near the front at all at Hampden. But I know people were situated there, but you will have to stand more or less down the front there to get a decent view of the parkouts.
Aye. Going back to the thing about Baxter and that, you know, and Scottish players that AK's old man mentioned, you know, and you talked about coaching and just letting players play and developing. But do you think, if you look at the pyramid, I try to get players, there's just not enough Waynes playing football anymore, Southside? Is it that simple?
Well, see, to be honest, right, if you look at the costs involved as well, as some of the teams, like you're saying, I mean, I remember when my boy was playing football and you were paying, so you were roughly paying 10 or 20 quid. I think it was £10 each session or something, they had 2 a week. And then I think they paid something on a game day. It wasn't much, but they paid something. So you're talking, just for instance, also if that's £30 for a week, you know. So parents are having to pay that for their kid to try and go to football. So some of them, because you're having to pay for the park, you're having to pay for the gym hall, what they're using, you might have to pay for a park outside. So that's expensive. There isn't enough Waynes playing in the street. You don't hardly see any Waynes in the street anymore unless they're just all walking about in wee groups. They're not kicking a ball about or anything. You know, they're all on their phones. You know, they're all on their mobile phones. But even for some of the people to send, if you've got 2 kids and you're wanting to be good and they want to play football, it can be quite dear for a parent as well, to send their Waynes to a wee club to go and play football, and they might be good at it. I know some people have put some free things on for some of the kids in some of the areas and that. But it's getting their attention to go out and play, and they go to want to play, I think. And I find it strange. I mean, you hear players that are playing professional football now don't even like playing it. They just play it because they're talented.
We've had this debate before, haven't we?
Aye. But if Waynes have got it in them, they want to play football, then they'll have the desire to go and play. But there's maybe when the summer comes in, there's a few places round about. But most of the parts are all shut off. The goals all get took away usually and all that as well. A lot of them get chased off places to play. And they don't maybe have that set up. So unless their parents can afford to send them to go and play their games for their club team, a lot of them are maybe missing out hots. Kids, just because of that reason, because their mum and dad just haven't got the money to spend maybe £30 that week, and it's £30 the next week, mate, with 2 kids. And that's no good for that either. But I just think Waynes have got a lot more things to do. The internet's took care of their lives, their mobile phones have took care of their lives, and that's it now. Unless they really
their life, says the 2 guys sitting there talking about the Rangers.
Aye, I know, but you know what it's like. You know, as we've spoke about, even when we watched the football back then, you didn't have something happened at the game and all that, and you just either see it, you talked about it, you wanted to go and see your pal, you went round and chapped his door, didn't you? You phoned him. If he didn't answer his house phone, then you had to go and chap his door and see if he was in, because nobody had mobile phones back then. You know, no, it's just
the good old days.
Has it got better? I don't know.
Aye. Look, moving into the last tour of the show, we're doing a rabbit hole tonight, but let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
That'd be good to hear people. Aye. But we're only interested in us trying to get the cream of the crop and getting them into our first team and getting entertained, you know. Who was the last boy that we produced that you would say was a genuine talent, Southside?
The last boy we produced?
Aye.
Genuine talent.
People, obviously, we sold Patterson for 12 months.
Aye.
Did we see enough of him? Did we know he was, you know, I don't even think he's making Everton squad now, you know?
No, I don't think they were playing tonight. I don't know if he's in their squad or no. He was potential. He got all the exposure at the time. Most of your games are live on telly. He was in European games, and then somebody took a punt on him. Maybe had seen him coming up without getting many first team games. You kind of kid on here. Some of these English clubs are looking at some of your young boys, and he propelled for when we got the money. To me, Barry Ferguson epitomised everything I want in my Rangers team. A captain, a leader, a guy who could go and influence games, a will to win, desire not to get beat, and had that mentality, and dished out. And listen, what he says now and all that, I don't listen to. I know he's on Go Radio and all that, I don't listen to it. I know people are critical because he says stuff and all that. Listen, I'm talking about Barry Ferguson, the football player that played at Glasgow Rangers, and I thought he was outstanding, you know. And for the age he came in when Advocat gave him the bit to go, and he excelled. He wasn't perfect, made a couple of decisions that we've seen later on that wasn't great. But then we sold him because we needed the money, obviously, is what he said. And we sold him and he went down to England. And then he realised that he didn't like it down there, as he said, because the mentality was different. Everything was different. There was no will to win every week, if they win. It was used to. And I liked the way he talked about when he was there as a boy, getting taught under John McGregor and John Brown, and they were hard on him, and the demands they made on him. They cleaned the stadium, they cleaned the boots, they showed respect. But then they got their chance to play. And he always talks about them.
Was he a better football player?
And then you guys here in Derek.
Aye.
I think he'd a better. Aye, I would say he probably was better. Aye, and I thought Derek Ferguson was an exceptional player and all. I know he carried a wee bit of injuries, but he was a good player. He could go by players and stuff. I know he always sort of sat in and said he was merely a sit-in player, but Derek could play. I only went to see a Scotland game at Hampden because he was coming on and making his debut. And I only went to Hampden. It was against I'm sure it was against Colombia. It was nothing each, and Carlos Valderrama was playing it on. I wanted to see him in the flesh. But I'm sure Derek came on that day for Scotland in his debut. But he was a great player. But I think Barry was outstanding, mate. And he led by example. And as he said to, I think him and Jimmy Bell were quoted as saying it to Al Haffer Newman, you've no won anything here. You might have won stuff in here, but till you start winning in here, it'll start counting. He put demands on players. He was moany, and you know that. I get that. But he had that desire and will not to get beat. And knows the score, that you can't go drawing against Inverness up there under Paul Le Guen and think it's acceptable and go, all right, guys, we'll go again next week, as if brushing it off until somebody says, no, this isn't good enough. You know what I mean? Because it's about standards, and that's what's been missing in the club, standards. But it's been falling short. Just my opinion on it.
No, listen, mate. I mean, but what the problem with that is a quarter of a century plus since Barry Ferguson came into the team, basically 98, 99. 99.
But he came in as a young boy and he showed quality, and Walter sort of tempered it, didn't he?
He got his starts with Walter.
Aye, but Walter was a bit tentative at times. He could probably have flung him in a wee bit earlier again, and he didn't. You know, but I still think Barry, for me, is probably the best academy player that we've had out the academy that's came out. Charlie Adam done quite well and all. Just Charlie Adam had attributes. He was a good player. He could knock a boy. Walter played him in the big games and all, and he had an eye for the goal. But Charlie just didn't get in because Barry was in central midfield the whole time, didn't he? And Charlie Adam, I thought, could have had a longer career at Rangers.
Well, we only played for Blackpool and then Liverpool.
I know what happened when he went to Blackpool. He was really good, wasn't he? He got the freedom to go in there and play, and then obviously got his move to Liverpool. Rightly or wrongly, whether he made it or no, he still got the move.
Interesting. I'm trying to think who's come in. Obviously, a few years later, Hutton burst onto the scene, and we made a lot of money off Alan Hutton as well. And obviously, Alan McGregor is a goalkeeper, but apart from that sort of era, mate, I thought we might have produced more youth when we were on the journey to get us at times who were pushing and maybe developed, and some of them have wanted successful careers, but we've not even still managed to get a lot. And for me,
Lewis McLeod.
I thought that boy was unlucky, mate.
I then got injured, didn't he?
I thought he had a bit of ability playing in a terrible side, yeah.
Lewis McLeod was unlucky when he got the injury. Kyle Hutton was another one that was there or thereabouts, and we gave him a contract when we were in the leagues, but didn't kick on under McCoist in the long term. Was trying to think of one or two others. It was Kai Naismith's another one, who at the time he was a very, very talented football player. Mad as a hatter, exactly. You heard the kidnapping story, didn't you? No, I mean, you think that was fiction, wouldn't you? And no real, but it was real. Mad as a hatter, you know, but I went down there and made a career in England, you know. But I was another one I thought might have kicked on at the time. And then obviously recently Alex Lowry, you were looking at him, you're thinking, is he going to be the next one that might kick on? Obviously you had, as we spoke earlier, Leon King, you've got Devine, and then behind that now we've got the crop where you're talking about Bailey Rice, who's 17 now, just went 17.
You've seen him play for the B team or whatever you want to call it, B team or whatever.
Bailey Rice, aye.
Do you think he's got a chance?
Bailey Rice, I believe, has got a right good chance. The only problem, in my opinion, and the manager's alluded to it, because he mentioned when somebody asked him about him, he says Bailey Rice has to learn to work a bit harder after the ball. And when me and Albert saw him, we were watching him, Albert says he's never playing in that Rangers first team unless he runs about because at that time in the midfield, you had Cole McKinnon was running about, Aaron Lyle was running about by him. You had Bailey Rice in the midfield. He didn't really run, but that boy can play some passes. He's got great vision. He lets the ball run across. Do you know, he reminds me a wee bit like Barry Ferguson. In certain ways, he takes the ball and lets the ball run across him. He looks up and then he pings it. And he's got great attributes. He will probably have to learn to work a lot harder. He's a young boy. And if at the moment, that's about the only thing I see that he's missing in his game, where he has to go out and work off the ball and on the ball. But some of the passes he plays off for his age and that is phenomenal. I believe Bailey Rice will be a Rangers first team player as long as he keeps the attitude right. And if he's in the first team in training, I think Bailey Rice just goes in and plays probably where Diamande plays now. Depends if you're playing a 2. If you're playing a 3 in the midfield, I think he would probably be maybe just to the left, because he's mostly light-footed. He can use his right, but he's mostly left-footed. So I would think just on a 3 in midfield, just on the left there. Or you could stick him in the middle of the park as well. But he has got everything. He's got good size and stature, good physical attribute. So I think Bailey Rice could make it and should make it. But it'll come down to attitude and application for him. And if you show it, I think Clement will put you in the team.
Right, okay. All right. So we wish him all the best. Is that your prediction? Is that your thought?
I think I'd like to think I don't know if he'll kick on next season. I think next season is a big year for him, so I'd like to think that he'll go be training in the first team. And if he does a good pre-season, if he's made the first team works, then why no? Because we're going to have to build a team. And if we can find a gem like him, because he has got good ability, he could save us a lot of money. And it's about developing and bringing him on. And same with McCausland. We'll need to get him off the right wing eventually. We need to take him out of there because he isn't a right winger. And play him in his true position when he comes on. I don't think he'll start. I think he'll find it harder to start if you're talking about in a true position, or I think we will buy a wide player on the right hand side. But Ross McCausland, being a squad team player, and when he comes on, if he's getting 20 minutes, I would put him in his true position and let him play the 20 minutes or whatever you give him to develop him. Hopefully he'll go away, build his cell up, come back a bit better next year. But put him in his true position and let us all see what he's got, because he's got good vision, good skill, good balance, and he can make some lovely passes for his true position. Out wide, he's always going to come inside slightly because he needs to link to play. He can't get down the wing and beat players. That's not his game. So he will do it now and again, but for me, he plays his true position, number 10, next year or the year after, or whatever it may be when he comes on. Stick him in there and give him his time, game time in the rocks, because that's where he'll develop better.
Yep, so listen, it'd be interesting to see it pans out. I mean, I think McCausland's got great touch, great technique. I'm just worried about his physicality, mate. I know it's not the be all and end all, but he looks very, very slight. Yeah. So did
Dean Durant, mate. So did Dean Durant when he came in the team.
Level, mate. Different level.
I know, but see McCausland in a decent central position. Well, I've watched him make the run. I know it's B team against first team, but if you're doing the same things correct and you're doing them all the time, and you're running at players looking to play 1-2s after them and stuff, like he does and like he can do, and a couple of times in the first team he's been in the middle of the park and got the ball and picked it up and made a burst. The first thing he's done is done exactly what he did in the B team. Go and commit players. Look for the 1-2 or look to beat him. Hearts took him out at the edge of the box at Tynecastle because he went direct when he picked the ball up just in front of the halfway line. He just went straight in a straight line, right for Hearts. That's where that boy will develop in time. It's good to put him out there, give him the experience and keep him out of trouble. But don't be harsh on him because he's playing out wide. He isn't a wide player, but he's doing a job and he linked up well with Tav, and I think him and Tav are striking up a decent relationship. But he has to, like you say, get bulkier, and hopefully part of Clement's team in the future, he'll come on and play roles where the number 10 position. And then we'll maybe see, you might have a different opinion of Ross McCausland, because he is good and talented and get good vision and pace, mate.
All right. Well, I'll take your word on it, mate. I get when you see the movie when he comes inside, he's playing his head up, and you can see him running with the ball. The he's close to his feet. He's got it under control. He's looking. He's not really maybe set up enough chances at the moment, but as you say, he's developing. Yeah, but it does worry me, Southside, that he has appeared in the first team. And he's not been there forever because he's only came out when he's 16. But if he went in the EPL, he'd be a different shape from what he is in our team, mate.
Aye, he's came out for Belfast. He's been a young boy. Aye, of course it is. But he's come out and he looks quite young. He's not that physical. He's just been a young boy, probably been playing out in the streets in Belfast for a while now, and then he's been picked up. He's played boys club and he's came to us for Linfield. But listen, there's room for him to grow. He's got bags of potential. It's just a bit nurturing it. He's not going to play well every week, and any young boy that comes in, whether it's him, Bailey Rice, Cole McKinnon, or Adam Devine, or any of them, Leon King, I'll always give them a chance. They'll always maybe make mistakes here or there, but they're developing. They don't want to make mistakes. Most of them are vast majority of them are Blue Noses, so they want to come in and play for us. So they don't want to make mistakes, but they will, and they will dip in and out of form because they're young. But bear with them. Try and develop some of the mocks. We need to, and hopefully they'll flourish as a player. And if their ambitions are moving on at a certain time and we get a good bid in from them, then it benefits the club. But we can't keep going and spending money here, there and everywhere and picking up, oh, well, he's doing no bad with it, he's a young boy, he's 19, we'll bring him. And then, because we've got boys, they're here, they know, we just need to try and have a bit of faith in them, but they need to show something as well. You need to be that bit more exceptional, not just good. You need to be better than good to try and make the first team. But hopefully, come on, we'll give them a chance.
The problem is that some of them have been involved with the club too long, mate, and they think they've made it and they've not made it.
Well, obviously every boy that signs for any club probably it's got that wee bit of swagger about you, and you're happy, you're delighted, but you've got to work hard, and a lot of them have got the right mentality and attitude. But it's getting a chance, and it's a 2-team league, and you don't have a lot of room for error. And sometimes you've seen the odd boy come on. Remember the wee winger that came on a few years back? Atty something. Atty likes to call him Atty Tatty or Atty Catty or something. I can't remember his name. He got hoofed right off the park. Do you remember against Motherwell? He just came on the park. He went down the line and the big centre back or left back came across and put him right out off the park. He went half injured. Done him straight away. And you're thinking, wait a minute here, this wee boy's just come on, try to see, and he's just hoofed him. So we know that can happen. But so, I mean, I don't think we've seen him for ages after that, to be honest. But we want to try and develop these boys, and they've got to play competitive games. And these B games, these best of best games, I don't think is going to really develop.
Somebody's got us into a mess. And
again, you need somebody to play for Ox. You know, you need
the people running the game in Scotland. It's a disgrace, mate.
It's bad because these clubs are saying they can't afford to play a B team. Well, they've got some of them have got B teams, but we can't afford to play a reserve league. Every player that's all played the game, I've all talked about it's great to come back and play in the reserve games. Where Derek Ferguson talked about it when he was a young boy coming back into the Rangers team and who he was playing with and all that and who was there, just to learn from him and play. And it's a competitive game. Some of them, he said, maybe went through the emotions because they're just warming up to going back into the first team. But there's no competitiveness, I don't think. Okay, you're playing against, when we played Monaco, maybe you're playing against a good standard of player, they've got good technique, they've got good ability. But how's that developing your boys when we're putting them into the Premier League? You know, you've got to have these boys training with the first team and then give them a chance. Knowing they're going to make the odd mistake and they're going to hang me, but you've got to try and give them a chance. But they've got to show it. And if they're not showing it, then they're not going to get that chance. It's all right saying we've got the mocks. But Adam Devine and us, another one, who's getting a game at Motherwell now, we've had to loan him out. Good experience for him, playing week in, week out. When he comes back in the summer, he's got a choice to make. Do I want to go back? If I'm not playing the Rangers first team and I'm not going on loan, am I going to play in this best of the best for the B team? Because that's what I'll be going back today.
Aye.
And that's a big decision.
I think Adam Devine's got some injury. What worried me when I see him live, mate, was his lack of pace. He can run all day. The boy's an athlete, yeah, and he can play the game. But he's shorter, if you like, take off pace, yeah.
Maybe. I think
you know me, I'm watching some weird things I've pointed out to you with the cocktail Mandy and Lowry. When Jaffa's back.
Aye.
Jaffa's back, I told you. When I watched them, I went, never. He'll never make it around. Never.
But I think Devine possibly could, but he needs to be given a chance to run a game.
Listen, what I'm saying is what I observed.
Do you think Redvan's get loads of pace?
I think he can get off the mark quick. Quick. He covers the first couple of paces. I mean, he might not win a 30-metre sprint in the first team, but I think it's that first pace for the first couple of yards. Yeah, the Adam Devine might come back, play the first team, they might have moved on half a yard. We talk about people losing half a yard, young players can gain half a yard, you know. So I've not seen him live.
He could be doing to maybe a bit of match sharpness and match fitness and that, you know, and you might see a difference when he does come back after his loan spell with Motherwell. But listen, we've had players in positions a long time, as we've keep talking about, and they've done well and for most of the majority for getting trophies, performances, goals, assists and all that. But the team's got to move at some point. As we see, we all have sometimes favourite players, but eventually we know they're all going to move on. The team's got to keep evolving, and I just think we've got a group, we're depending on the budget come the summer, and some you might have to say, well, we need to have a look at these 5 or 6 young boys and see, are they going to do it, or are we just going to get rid of them? And then we've got a next wee batch that's coming up, which is Bailey Rice and a few other ones, and hope that they're going to progress. But some of them are only 16 now, and there's no many players going to the Rangers first team at 16 or 17 usually, is there?
Well, I talked to you about the other night about the boy Yafeku.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we just gave him a contract up to 2026, and he's a big unit, isn't he? Well, let's be honest, he's a big unit.
Aye, he's a big boy.
So somebody's saying something, you can't argue that he's not ready physically.
Physically, height-wise and all that, I think he's ready. I think he lacks a wee bit of pace in for certain times I've seen him. But in saying that, if you read the game better, you know, he's had a taste of the first team as well.
Aye.
They're basically playing him
up to 2026.
Protecting the asset then, innit?
Aye, but also then we're saying we've given him that extension of contract, and we've got problems at left back, and he's never even been mentioned.
No, he's played left back, but Robbie Fraser usually plays left back. He plays left centre back. There, but he's got the height and the stature, and he's got the height. Aye.
When you're a young boy, mate, you just want the team, ain't you?
Aye, obviously once you get a taste of it, you know, you talk about your Fecko and Cole McKinnon's in the same position as well. The last time we'd really seen him was when he played a few of the boys at Tynecastle. And we spanked him through there and he scored, and then he's sort of come back in like
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Aye, 2 years ago, and he's still there, and I think he signed a new extension. And so maybe the manager and the backroom team and maybe the coaches that are watching him, or maybe think that he might get progressed up to the first team squad, and then it's down to them to take up the challenge. But they've also got to get a chance. So
would you say it's a big asset if you're a left-sided player getting in the team, because it's less common if you've got that left foot?
Aye, obviously, aye. If you're a good left foot, and you're
apart from Stevie's school, it was full of left footers.
the drum chapel musician, is that who you're talking about? Aye, but listen, I think we had a good balance started. I think the way Clement shaped it, I think it would have been Ridvan, hopefully week in, week out, Diamonde and Cortez. And I think if they were turning up week in, week out, and they're in form, I think that's a good balance there. I think our time, it would have probably worked. And we've had to change that because Cortez's injury. But I think left-footed Bailey Rice, aye, show enough effort, enough heart, desire, mate, and your talent. I believe he's got loads of talent. It will take him in. He's just got to grab the chance when he can get it, and hopefully Clement will see something in him and some of the other young boys, and maybe then they'll start to shape a team and a squad And Ox Osbordeens, when they come in, hope that they play well, do well, because they're bursting to get in the team and play well. And if they do that and they want to stay longer than some of the other players that we've signed, and we want to keep them, then so be it. And if they get moved on 2 or 3 years down the line for big money because they've done well, even better for us if they move on. And we need to evolve it again. It's what we've got today, we know that.
Right, you just want to look back at the subjects tonight. We started with VAR. We went on to the Premier League. We talked about Derek Johnston. We got into Sandy Jardine. We were joined by Mr. AK. We went on to the forward line for the 60s. We talked about Jim Master. Yeah. We mentioned the Gordon Dale hat-trick in Sandy Jardine's last game at Ibrox. There you go. There's one for the memory bank, yeah?
Aye. 8,500 at Ibrox.
Aye. Yeah. Last home game of the season. What else did we want to talk about? The youth players who might make it. You predicted Bailey Rice. We'll see where that journey goes big, you know?
Aye, he should, but he really should.
And the inefficiency of the people who run Scottish football, I think we all agree in that.
Aye. I mean, the HR team that's took away my night with my big mate.
Well,
it's felt as if a half's missing.
Sometimes in life you get what you deserve.
Aye, well, that's what you think. I don't agree. But
yes. As I say, you might see him go to the gates of Buckingham Palace tomorrow.
Yes. Free the drum chapel musician.
Yes. Right, last word for your good self, Susie. What a night.
Aye. It's been like you say, we've covered a lot of topics and different subjects. But aye, it's good to be on a Wednesday night as always, mate, when there's no game to go and see. And hopefully next Wednesday I'll be reacquainted with my good mucker. And hopefully we'll have 3 points in the bag for Sunday, which is the most important thing, Ox.
Well, he always says that appeal follows a sentence, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, aye.
Listen, pleasure, big man. And we've got to thank Mr. AK Senior.
Aye, no, it was a delight to hear him on the night. He's certainly different for his son, certainly. I suppose if we're short, we could always ask him to fill in. It'd be a big improvement, I think. Would you think?
I think we could swap them, mate, if we're being honest.
I know, imagine calling your rain after a Celtic player. What can I say, Ox? That shocked me tonight.
Oh well.
You'll be going tonto in the house.
Yes, he will be. Listen, thanks to Mr. AK Senior for joining us. Thanks to Edward Southside, an absolute pleasure. Thanks to Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals. This has been Rangers Radio. Thanks for listening. But remember, for us to work and continue, we need people to phone in. Thanks for listening. Take it away, Old School Blue.